We are live, everybody. Let me know if my microphone is working. If you can in the chat room. Hey, everybody, let me know. Is my chat working? Oh, cool. My microphone's working because I got the actual mic on right now. I got the legit mic. So welcome, everybody. Here. It's Exploring the Car. And we are live Saturday. See, I got my mic going, so I'm not using the mic from the webcam. So, but I will be getting a new webcam soon, so a better one. So I know the quality on this one, not too great. Hey, everybody in the chat room. Jules, Eustace, Dawn, really. Ken, hey, buddy. What's up, Ken? Nice to see you. Let me see if I can make this so I can, now I can see it better. Let me try to make this better here so I can see the chat room better. There we go. Hey, my wifey's in there now too. Oh, I didn't have a visit with Chris and Sherry. I had a visit with Frank and Paula. I don't know. That picture is with Paula and Frank and me. Hey, Melinda's here too. What's up, Melinda? Dawn. Hello, everybody. We're going to be doing some live readings, and I'm going to be showing you guys the Spirit Flame today. And recently, I did the Spirit Flame with Frank Castle. It's an ancient tradition. And oh yeah, you're here seeing me live for the first time. Well, now that the New Year's is here, my Patreon is going to be exploding. I got a couple of new subscribers as well, and there's going to be I'm changing the platforms around a little bit. Now that I've been doing it for a while, I'm kind of understanding a little bit more how to do things on Patreon, and I'm going to modify the platforms. It's great that we talk about all these topics, but now it's time for action. So I'm going to be showing people how to work with crystals and gardening and plants, and how to combine crystal work with plants, and how to use these old ways to awaken this knowledge within you, deep inside of you. So today we are going to be doing some amazing readings, and we're going to be discussing the Spirit Flame as well. So this bottle that I have here is very important stuff right here. This is made in Benevento, Italy by the company Strega Liquor. And if you actually see on the bottle, you can see witches, or if you want to call them shaman, or if you want to call them prophets, whatever word you want to call these people, you can actually see them dancing around the walnut tree here on the bottle, on the label. And you see the glass, inside the glass right here, they actually have a witch with a broom, and it says Strega right there. And this is made in Benevento, Italy, where the ancient walnut tree is. You can order it from the company. But if you don't have access to this, you can actually use rubbing alcohol or a high quality perfume or cologne, and for this special ritual. And usually you want to get like a green bottle or some sort of ancient relic, maybe from your family, an old perfume bottle from your family, some sort of bottle that you is connected to your DNA. And you put this bottle underneath the moon, you charge it, usually underneath the full moon for about 3 to 8 hours. And then you're going to use this in the Spirit Flame ritual. And Aradia, who was one of my ancient ancestors, supposedly, I believe she definitely was part of my ancestry, if not a spouse or some sort of cousin or relative of mine, because I do feel strongly connected to the name and to the mythology and history that goes along with her. She's supposed to be a daughter of Herodias Diana genetic line. Let me read in the chat room. Just in a Chris message. That sounds like I don't know. I was reading. Hey Simba, what's up? So Aradia, she was basically hunted down by the Roman Catholic Church in the 1300s, imprisoned, and then she literally with thought brought an earthquake right down on the prison, and she was able to escape. And later on, the Inquisition and the Vatican soldiers did catch up with her and stole the secret scrolls that she received from the Grigori, these interdimensional creatures similar to what Joseph Smith encountered, which led to the Mormon Church. She received these special scrolls, 9 scrolls. One of them was to be of special metal, and while she ran her finger across it, like in something activated along the scroll. It was ancient technology, and supposedly the Catholic Church took her scrolls and have them somewhere within in the Vatican, somewhere within their vault. And this could be speculation, but I do believe the Aradia figure was a real person, and I do believe she did have some special scrolls. Now, she believed that this spirit flame ritual was the very essence of the Strega or Strega old ways. And it actually carried the essence of your ancestry. It's the very essence of your soul, the very essence of who you are. And when you activate this spirit flame, you basically are concentrating on the ancestral realms and your connection to the ancestral realms, and you get a message from your ancestors. I didn't let Frank Castle know this as well. I didn't let him know. I just told him it was called the spirit flame, and I wanted to share it with him. I didn't tell him he was about to connect to his ancestors or anything like that. And when I did it for him, he immediately started talking to his loved ones that had passed. Immediately, he was getting messages. He was like talking to his family. It was pretty intense, and it happened almost instantly. We closed the lights, and I activated the spirit flame. Now, what you do is that you take this special liquid, right? And you have your special spirit flame bowl, that's only used for this. And, I even have the tattoo of this spirit flame on my ankle. I got it when I was a teenager. So I have this special little bowl that I have see this represents the spirit flame. This crescent moon is actually the symbol for the bowl as well, or the moon. And this spirit flame is the blue flame hovering over the spirit bowl. And I use this little bowl for it. It's always been used for it. And what you do is that you charge this underneath the moon, and I use a specific bottle. Not only did this whole bottle charge, but I also have a little ancient bottle that I use that was connected to my family. Like before, like I said, I'll show you. Now you're only supposed to use like a little small bottle and fill the bowl up about halfway when you use it. So I use this old bottle. Now this was an old bottle that was my great grandmother's perfume, and then it was my mother's bottle that she put perfume in, and then when my mother passed, I took over this bottle. And so it's good to have a little green tint like this one does to the bottle. For some reason, it enhances the energy of the moon when it's charged. What's up, Joshua, everybody in the chat room, Fat Tony. I'll get to your questions later. I know you have questions in the chat room about Mandela effect and all of this. I just can't start going off on tangents. But so I will fill this bottle up, usually with this, and we'll put it beneath the moon, charge it for a few hours, and then, now I don't recommend anyone do this unless they really take it seriously. This is not something that you just do for fun. This is something that you're supposed to do by yourself or with others that are like-minded for that specific reason. It's supposed to be an enclosed environment, a sacred space, and completely no outside influence. What's up, Dawn? And you have to put all the lights out, and when you pour the specially charged liquid into the bowl, like I said, if you don't have access to the Strega liqueur, if you don't have access to this, you can use rubbing alcohol, or you can use a high quality cologne. So you will pour it about halfway, fill the bowl about halfway, and then you light it on fire. You actually put a flame to the liquid. Now, when you do this, it's going to produce a beautiful, majestic blue flame above, hovering and dancing on the bowl. And this is a spirit flame. And it will actually produce 3 flames, a tri-flame. And this is seen as the teachings of the old ways, the teachings of Aradia. And it activates a higher intelligence of yourself. Just the fire in general is a symbol for a higher intelligence, for divine intelligence, the eternal flame. Okay, so we're going to do this today, and we're also going to do live readings for people. And I want to talk a little bit about using crystals with plants as well, and certain plants that we can use as well. You know, there's a lot of trees and plants that are very sacred to Strege. You know, and I use the term strego or strege as in plural, but typically if you would call an Italian shaman or man would be a stregone. A woman would be called strega, but we took the term strega and just made it like a general term. I never seen the movie Hero, Ken. In the chat room is saying, is that like the flames in the movie Hero that the king had? Yeah, I'm not familiar with that movie. But I do have a symbol for it somewhere I could show you, but I do have a tattoo to represent it. I'll show you. I've had this since I'm young too, on my ankle. I don't know if you guys can see it if I put it up higher on my ankle. Hold on. But yeah, see on my ankle right there? That's the spirit flame. It's like a crescent moon almost, and the bowl with the flame hovering above it. And that is the teachings. I don't know if I would get that tattoo nowadays, but when I was a teenager, I got it. I think I was 16 when I got that. But so I'm not familiar with the term hero, but there's certain trees like this one that goes hand in hand, like the walnut tree that you see on this bottle goes hand in hand with the Strega tradition, and oak trees as well. And tonight on Truth Frequency Radio, I'm going to be discussing cedars, the cedars of Lebanon, and how they have been calling to me and crying out to me and giving me messages. And I've been led to it. I've been having dreams about these things, and then I'll wake up and I'll open books and it'll be right about what I was dreaming about. I've been literally getting called to, I feel. And the information I've pulled in about cedars, and especially the cedars in Lebanon, I feel is going to be groundbreaking, and no one's ever talked about it before. I'll give you guys a little hint. I do believe the most ancient of trees in Lebanon, the most ancient of cedars, are like a sort of life support, keeping ancient creatures in stasis. Thank you so much. And if everybody wants to donate in the live chat, I will do live readings for you. And anyone who donates $25 or more will receive a crystal in the mail. I forgot to mention that before. Teresa De La Vega last time donated, and she's in Hawaii, and I'm sending her a Golden Healer cluster. I actually will be shipping it out Monday morning. I packaged it all up today. It's in Hawaii, so it took me a little longer to ship. But if you're in America, it's a lot easier. Like in the United States, the local states, I know Hawaii is, but the regular states in Hawaii, it's a lot easier. I mean, regular states in the United States is a lot easier. Hawaii's a little bit different, and Canada, but I don't have any more of the Golden Healer clusters, but I have quartz towers and I have kyanite, and I charge them with a nice healing vibration. And thank you so much. Really, really. I don't know if you would like a reading today in the chat room, but we can definitely have that. We could definitely make that happen. And I appreciate all you do and all your support. And, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/themysticalspiral. And I do readings for people on there as well. And you can find a lot of information that I don't release anywhere else on my Patreon. And like I said, anybody who wants to donate will receive a crystal. You just got to private message me your address So uh, I was talking about the walnut tree as well, and the walnut tree basically is for prophecy. We believe it's for prophecy. Thank you, Don, too, as well, for the kind words. So I don't want to go down the whole story of what happened to the walnut tree in Benevento, but if you go back into some of my archives, you can find it. What's up, the Ben and Dante thing? What's up, Keith? Um, this walnut tree was taken down, um, and the thing is that it was taken down by the Catholic Church and by a special person called Saint Barbato, who actually, in according to what I've learned in my family tradition, is that he actually was like an incarnated, disembodied Raphaim. He was one of the spirits of the ancient giants that died, and their energy sort of learned how to incarnate into a human. And they took over this guy, this Saint Barbato, who was like the bishop of the town. He was like the main priest of Benevento. Yes, Christians can be Benedante. Padre Pio was a Benedante. Padre Pio was a Strega. Padre Pio is a very interesting story, and I do mention him a lot, and I'm going to eventually do a whole show on him. He had many abilities, and Padre Pio is from where? None other than Benevento, Italy, where this is made from. And he had this spirit flame within him. In fact, in my opinion, from what I understand, the reason why he was receiving, thank you so much, Melinda, that 333 is very important. And I know you don't have much for you to donate is very special. Thank you so much. So Padre Pio received the stigmata for 50 years of his life. He was bleeding out of his hands and his feet, receiving the wounds of Christ. I think that's because he took on the dogma of that Catholic Church, and because of his extra abilities and his Strega lineage and his true abilities as a seer and a prophet, when he received and took on the doctrine of the church, he received the imprint of their beliefs in such a heightened sense way. He was actually bleeding because of his belief in the pain of Christ. He actually took on, he was so empathic. He was so in tune with the pain and the suffering of the story of Jesus and what happened, that he actually was able to manifest those wounds and take on the sacrifice. And it truly was amazing. And, you know, a lot of us people that receive prophetic messages, we have a certain scent about us. And we tend to not like to wear deodorant even. Like we have this like natural scent. And Padre Pio was one of these men. When he was using his abilities, he would smell like flowers almost. He would smell like a cologne. He would have this natural smell. And even people thousands of miles away, they would think of Padre Pio and pray to him. And all of a sudden their room would be filled with this smell, this perfume of flowers, or this rose, almost a rosy, some sort of mixture of roses and a sweet smell. And when I encountered the energy of my grandmother, I encountered the smell of her perfume. It saturated me. It engulfed me. It was in my hair. It was in my clothes. It like went all over me. I understand what this smell is. In fact, it's interesting because there was a few stories that I've read about Padre Pio in the past where bishops or even popes have gone to visit him, and they said to him, Padre, I'm kind of offended that you put cologne on to come meet me. And Padre Pio was like, what are you talking about? I don't wear cologne. But the priest actually was the Pope and the bishops were actually thinking that Padre Pio, they were offended because they were like, this guy's getting all dressed up with cologne. Like he's like going out to the movies with his like he's not a priest, like he's not a friar, like he's not a monk, like a brother. So he actually, what's up, Pavel? Adam. And then what's up, Keith? So it's interesting, when you have not only a sixth sense, an extra sense, you have heightened five senses of abilities. You're heightened. All of your senses are heightened. You'll see in a different way. You'll see auric fields. You'll see colors. You'll experience colors. You'll be able to taste colors in a way. Um, the way you experience numbers, they come to you in a different way. They come to you in symbols, and in like sometimes when I see a nine, it comes to me like a huge building or a huge towering tree. Nines can be very in like in intimidating. They can come at you like a huge giant, and a six can be sort of like a bottomless swirling hole when a six approaches you. So if you see numbers in the astral, when you are viewing and you try to really focus, and go beyond the physical, and see the extra dimensions of things, you will see numbers in a whole different way. You'll experience numbers in a whole different way. So when I'm viewing somebody and I'm doing a reading and I'm concentrating on, if something comes at me and I'm thinking of a number or something like that, and I know it comes at me in a certain way, it has to do with the nine. And if it comes at me like in a huge towering building, so there's certain symbols that I have within my psyche that I use. I'm not sure if it's the same for everyone else, but it's certain things that come on. And just like I was talking about with my buddy Masaki the other day, and something that I'm going to use that he said, quoted in a certain way. I said it in my own way, but basically it's if you know the way energy works and flows, if you've had any energy work or any energy experience where you've been taught about the way energy works and the way it flows and the way it moves in waves and particles, then you'll realize the whole idea of the artificial intelligence is kind of nonsense. If you have a strong mind, you can use technology, right? But I was saying it to my wife Mika the other day. I quoted it like this way: if you have a strong mind, like, you can use some technology that we have, right? But if you don't have a strong consciousness, that technology will use you. And that's basically what's happening with the majority of people on this planet, is they're being used by the technology. So it's really intense, that our society has become so touch of the button. They need everything instantly, that it's sort of like a virus that have spread. And other countries are not so instantaneous like that. It's been the downfall of our society. No one has patience anymore for anything. And I'm reading it. Yeah, Marilyn, that's she's talking about my videos on Patreon. Yeah, so though I'm gonna make those into a documentary. Yeah, that is the Fey Forest you're talking about, and it is a very intense place. And yeah, the Catholic Church has taken over the energy of that location. In fact, we're talking about Catholic saints, and we were talking about Padre Pio. He is one of the people that has been hijacked, and he's being used for spiritual battles, for Ember Days battles. And us Benedante, him being one of them, he is being used by the Catholic Church in these Ember Days battles. And his body is in a stasis. They have his body. Now, everybody in Hollywood and everybody that's seen Hollywood movies has the idea of what they've portrayed as vampires. But that's not the way vampires are. In sorcery, in the occult, in us shaman, what we see as vampires is a whole different thing. Now, you can mark a body with an unclean energy at the moment of death and claim it, and it will stay in a sort of stasis. It'll stay sort of incorruptible while it's being used for that intended sorcery. And this is an ancient Egyptian practice. It goes back many, many thousands of years. And the Catholic Church are using this technique on their saints, and they're doing a form of even making some of the bodies part wax, and then they're actually using an old form of sorcery, and it's a form of vampirism. They're using the body for sorcery, for multi-dimensional travel to accomplish their deeds. And I do feel that Forrest in my documentaries on my Patreon is being used as this. And when a body is used and marked at birth, at death, it could be put in where it does not rot and it does not decay for a period of time while it's being used for the purpose of that sorcery, and it gets controlled. And this is a form of being a vampire. Hold on, because we're gonna do some readings too. Yeah, so I'm going to show you guys the spirit flame too as well today, but I wanted to know who wanted readings in the chat room as well. Anybody would like a reading while we're here? And like I said, if anybody wanted to donate in the chat room for crystals, I will. The blood vampire and pop. I don't even remember oh yeah. So that's right. I've been talking about starfire rituals, consuming blood for energy and for power. And there was a lady Baffrey who bathed in blood, right, to stay young. So if you look on my Patreon, I put a video that they have this Project Ambrosia coming up where people are literally using blood to stay young, right? And when it's in science, people all of a sudden accept it in the mainstream. But when we're talking about it from an occult area, people think you're crazy. Even Kim Kardashian did some sort of blood treatment on her face, right? To try to look her face stay young. Blood has been used for magical purposes, for an elixir. It's the ultimate elixir, the starfire. It's been used for thousands upon thousands of years. It's an ancient elixir, and it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. And if you look up Lady Baffrey, she was literally bathing in virgin blood, and it's really intense. And the Catholic Church is using sorcery. They are using ancient Egyptian sorcery, and they're using people's bodies, and they have them in stasis. There is some insane things going on. Yeah, the spirit flame is something that is I was never going to really share with the public, but it's been written about in books by other people and things like that. But I do recommend before you ever do something like this, you kind of do it and use a grounding, some sort of grounding technique first, and sort of cleanse yourself, because it's not something that you just do to play around with. Yeah, Pavel, we will get you definitely. We could definitely do a reading on you too as well. I gotta light some of this sage a little bit too and cleanse. Now it's interesting because who's that, Ken? No, Ken. Every time we could do different readings all the time, and every time your readings will be different. Depending on certain decisions you make in your life, certain things that happen, certain events that take place. He said Melinda had me cringing. Yeah, that video had him cringing. Yeah, it's intense. So let me just get some sage. Light a little bit of sage here. I know I have that seashell somewhere. Yeah. If you guys ever use sage, I would use the white clary sage, and I like to use like a seashell, just a little seashell, burn it in a little seashell, something like that. Very simple, very easy. I like to use natural things. like seashells instead of ashtrays. If you can even use like a cup that you make, something like that, it would be that really works. Um, it's interesting that we talk about the blood and the blood rituals too, because even the mountain ash is a tree that is very sacred in Italian mythology, and they saw these ancestral guardians, ancestral protectors would be literally inside these trees. And I tend to look deeper into this now. I thought of it as just mythology when I heard this stuff when I was a kid, but they saw, ancestral guardians literally being living inside the ash trees, the rowan trees, or rowan trees, the mountain ash trees, that they literally lived inside of them, these protectors. And they produced these red berries on the trees. These red berries were seen as a direct blood link to their ancestors, an ancestral blood connection in the berries. So this is these trees. This is not just mythology or a savage's way of thinking. There's more to these stories. Every story in mythology has some basis in true history. Definitely. And so who's see, how can I be indoctrinated in the Benedante? That's a question that Keith Mooney asked. Now, I have heard of certain situations where people have been approached and taken basically in their sleep, in their dream time, and almost while they're falling asleep, they'll sort of experience the smell of sweet flowers. And while they're falling asleep, their soul separates from their body, and they'll travel within a swirling vortex within themselves and dive deep into the underworld. And you open a stargate of yourself, basically, within yourself, and you travel. And I've known of people that have been outside of the family lines and that have been approached in this sort of dream state and asked to join. But otherwise, from that, I've never seen that. But otherwise, I've known it's just something you inherit. It's in your DNA. It's in your family line. So if you don't inherit it, the only other way to be a Benedante is to be approached in the dream state. That's the only times I've ever heard of somebody claiming to be one, is that they were either sort of taken in dream time, or they inherited these ways. And the reason, or how I came to found out, because I didn't know exactly what it was at first, is I started to hear a drum beat when I would fall asleep, like a steady drum beat, and I would smell flowers, and it would only be once or twice a year or 3 times a year. And if you give in to the drum beat and focus on it, and it starts to align with the beat of your heart, you sort of like separate from yourself. You can feel like a gate opening up, like a wah. It's almost like a vibration, and it's hard to describe, but you can actually feel yourself separate from yourself. It's pretty intense. And so that is definitely something that we could talk about privately if you ever wanted to book a consultation or a reading with me or something, Keith. My website, of course, is themysticalspiral.com. So I guess it was Pavel we talked that wanted the reading first, right? So the first thing that came up to me was a symbol for phrenology. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Marilyn in the chat room, she said she would like a reading, but that's not her real name. It doesn't really matter about if it's your real name right now. I kindly just use that name that you put, and kind of like focus on the energy that comes along with you, and I'll focus on what you're typing and who you are, and kind of like tap into the moment, and so you don't even have to use your real name. It works better privately, if we have your real name, your birth date, so I can kind of try to form a timeline of when your son went into sort of progressed on in certain levels, so I can know your emotional timeline and kind of figure out where events happened in your life. But Pavel, the first thing that came up to me was symbols for about being a certainty. It's sort of like all up in your head, if you're sort of going through a lot of days with a lot of aimless activity, this is why you've had this reading today, is to kind of like bite this in the butt. Okay. So if your days are filled with all of this, a lot of nonsense, and your head is sort of like filled with a whole bunch of pointless activities and pointless internal chatter, all of this mindless chatter going on, and inconsistent plans and stuff that you're never fulfilling, and you need to like sort of focus and stop for a little bit, stop a while, and turn down the volume and be in silence. I think that you've had a problem being in silence sometimes, and that you really need to connect with silence again and find certainty. And when you sort of let your body rest and have silence, that's when you're most likely to receive information and hear information. And it won't be a bunch of inconsistent chatter. It'll be direct. It'll be guiding. It'll be laser focused. It'll give you a certain message that you need to receive. You'll be able to discern what you should do, what you shouldn't do. You'll have a steady mind. You'll be able to use your head better. You'll be able to focus more intently. I think that you need to come from a more logical way, think more logical in your life. I think that's your best bet. And I think you need stability, a little bit more stability. Stability is required for anyone to have some sort of normalcy. You have to have some sort of stability in your life, some sort of regular diet, some sort of regular activity, some sort of regular health plan, some sort of regular activities to keep you healthy is what I mean. Like, stuff like that. And you need to not seek out someone to guide you, but receive advice and then learn how to apply it yourself. And I think that that's what you're doing actually right now. I think that once you start to do this, you're going to really start to become more successful in your life, and that you had this power of really tapping in mentally in the past, really able to pick up on the chatter of everyone else in the room, the internal chatter even of anyone else in the room. And I think you might have used this in a negative way in the past. And that's why I'm getting symbols of sort of like a phrenology, symbols, like knowing the inner workings of the mind, and how I think in a prior incarnation, right now on another timeline, you are misusing this ability and picking up on the chatter, the internal chatter of other people when they're around you, to let go of that misuse and sort of move on from it. And then you'll start to activate this now. Oh, I'm sorry about your dog dying. But, so overall, Pavel, I'll leave you with this. You got to practice your meditation, learn how to quiet your mind again, because I feel like that when you're able to do this, you have a mind-blowing ability to pick up on the chatter of other people and to zero in on internal chatter of yourself to pull information in. You need to listen to your higher self, tap into that energy, and you should keep, this is specifically for you, because I don't get this message often. I don't get this symbol often. I think that you need to literally monitor your thoughts very carefully at this time. Literally monitor your thoughts, and really pay attention, because Even though thoughts people think are just thoughts, they are serious. Anything thought, said, or done is literally recorded in the infinite memory of your surroundings and your area. And even though you didn't act on it, just the thought is enough to produce that energy and that feeling and that force and manifest a monster, okay, in your consciousness. And this can be a boogeyman on your freaking soul if you don't deal with it. So I think you need to monitor your thoughts really, and um, kind of you don't dive straight into things. Kind of stay back, look at it, um, weigh your options. Don't just dive into anything right now. Get all the facts of things before you make decisions. And this is a time for you to just slow down. Don't make any big decisions, and your certainty will arise, will prevail soon. All right. So that's what I definitely think is up for you right now. And I do feel that you are um feeling there's something that has to do with like the Victorian era. Something about that time. Um I can see that you were using an ability to feel somebody's head. You were actually like feeling the bumps, the shapes. Um, you were reading someone's head like it was a map of their soul. Okay, so that's something that you might have been doing and using in a weird way, or something went wrong with that ability, and that's why it's closed off to you now, and that you're having all all these mindless chatters going on, and but a lot of unfinished things and stuff like that all up in your head is because you use that ability in a certain way. Okay, so that's what I'm going to leave you with, and definitely, we're always here live, so we can always do another reading again and see what has improved, what comes up next time. And I do feel that, I don't know if you've ever gotten any kyanite from me, but that would be really good for healing for you, for protection for you, to cut down those bad thoughts. You can use it as a sword, as a blade of protection, a blade of to cut down the negative elements that are approaching you, sort of like a healing wand, or some sort of healing sword, but that's definitely something you should look into. Who was going to be next? Let me get some sage going here. I know I don't really need the sage, but I like to use it as a little, just the smell of it sort of like cleanses me off the last reading. But, all these little symbols, all these little, even quick crystals, you don't really, you should be able to do this all eventually by yourself without any use of tools. But the crystals are not just as a tool, it's technology. They are recording devices. They are devices of amplification that cannot be done just by a mere human. It's an extension of yourself. See, I just do a little bit of sage and a seashell, just like that, just like that. Just I know people like to walk around with the big smudges and things like that, and but that does produce a huge smell. It's hard to get rid of that for a while, but just a little bit of the sage can cleanse your little space. And I do envision myself protected by a huge glow, a white orb of protective energy. And I would recommend anybody, before you come in the chat rooms, we should start every show like this, actually, that you kind of envision yourself in a protective egg of white glow. Like when I'm sitting down in this chair at the beginning, I imagine this sparkling white glow around me, like a protective shell of white glow that nothing can penetrate. No negative influences can penetrate. So, yeah, see, that's interesting you say that, Keith, because I made a set of runes, my own runes out of tiger eyes. So that's a very cool things too. And I'm going to be, actually, everybody, I'm going to be making products for sale. They're going to be amulets, protection amulets, and they're going to be so you can wear them around your neck, or keep them in your pocket, or under your pillow or whatever. But it's going to be it's a really good idea that I had in a dream. I saw it in a dream. So usually that's where the best ideas come from. And I think it's going to be a good year. There's going to be a lot of big things happening, and we really need to stop talking about so much and start acting on things more. And, it's good to be talking about things and having things, but we need to put it to action now. And we need to really start to focus and laser focus on results, because the world is changing, and we need to get together. Even with planting seeds, there's a way to plant seeds with crystals that I could show you guys that can really boost your connection with the plant. And you can actually use plants to protect your home, protect the energy of your home. They can also be like a familiar in a way, so excuse me, I need to get some water in a minute too. But so I don't know, I guess Marilyn, will do you next, Marilyn, because I was looking at Cosmos of Compassion. So Cosmo of Compassion saying, I was just wondering if you're responsible for the death of a loved one, how does soul deal with that? What do you mean if you're responsible for the death of a loved one? How would you be responsible? Did you kill somebody? I wouldn't say you're responsible for the death of a loved one. Why would you put that burden on yourself like that? I don't understand that. It's something we can talk about more. I'm pretty sure you probably don't want to reveal that on here, but you actually killed your dog. I see. You didn't kill your dog by accidentally killing your dog. I don't know if that would be considered an oxymoron, but like jumbo shrimp or something. But like accident and kill is not the same. It's like you can't accidentally kill. Killing is murder. It's not accident. So if it's an accident, it's you didn't kill your dog. It was accident. Your dog died because you made a mistake, maybe. You didn't kill. I wouldn't put that pain on yourself. So the first thing that comes up with me thinking when I was concentrating on you, before you even said about your dog, was I saw tea leaves, and the spreading out of tea leaves. And when I get that symbol, it usually means a couple things. It usually means it has to do with your foresight. Usually means that somewhere along the line you were using this as an ability, or you were a soothsayer or some sort of prophetess, or sorting, even trying to pierce the veil of the future through certain techniques. If you were trying to through either tea leaves, or it could be a symbol for your foresight. That it's sort of like time to heal certain wounds that you have. I think that now that you're talking about the dog, that it has to do with unresolved issues, that you need to heal. And this is not only this, but I'm getting a feeling that you need to look into your bloodline more, that you need to investigate your bloodline, and that's the reason why I'm coming up with symbols for your foresight and for tea leaves. That it has nothing to do with your dog. Something I do feel that you have to work on these unresolved issues with that, and let that go. But you need to focus on your bloodline. For some reason, I feel that's really important right now. I don't know if there is any tales of your childhood that you remember, or you can think back to remember, but something was said to you when you were younger that's going to, when you remember, it's going to activate it. I could see somebody talking to you as a younger, like giving you a bedtime story or something like that. And when you think back and remember that, it's going to activate something in you, and you need to see the bigger picture and step into your future with open eyes and have your foresight again, because you've lost your foresight. You've lost your optimistic view because of certain things that have happened, and you need to relax and just, have a cup of tea in a way, and spread your tea leaves and learn to just, it's time for you to open up your eyes. It's time for you to open up your heart. It's time for you to sort of like look into yourself. And I think that's what's going on. You know, Definitely not your fault that the dog died. Um, unless you subconsciously knew while you were leaving him by the pool that he was going to die. Like if you walked away saying, "Hey, I'm leaving this dog here and most likely he's going to drown if I leave him here," then there's something more to that. But if you were just in the heat of the moment, and the dog ended up by the pool and you forgot about it and this and that, and it's not your fault. You can't watch something 24/7. Especially when it's a dog. It's not your child or anything like that. Especially if you have children, the dog's sort of like further down on the list after a while. But when you take a dog, you take it as your responsibility. You're supposed to protect it, right? You're supposed to look out for it and make sure it's okay. So I know that you feel that you let the dog down by letting something bad happen to it, but it wasn't your actions that did it. It was the way of the world. So next time, you really gotta try to maybe think that were you even ready to have for a dog? Some people, it's a big decision to put the life of something else in your hands, and even a dog. Dog's a big decision. It's a big responsibility. Um, yeah, you didn't. I mean, you didn't do it with malicious intent, like just like what Ken's saying. But I do think that there's some sort of gypsy connection. I do feel some sort of gypsy connection in your past, some sort of spreading of tea leaves, that it wasn't just a symbol, that you actually did use the certain abilities like this at one time. Um, yeah, I'm sorry about your dog. It does suck. How old was the dog? I mean, was it a brand new puppy? Because if it was an older dog and he's well aware of the pool, doesn't really make sense. Um, let's see what we got here. I guess we got he was 16 years old, so he already knew about the pool. Was he always jumping in the pool? Now he was just too old to swim. He was blind. Well, then you know what? He shouldn't have been out near the pool. I can understand how you feel. He shouldn't have been left out there. Maybe you didn't even know he went out there, but it's nothing that could be fixed now. It's nothing that you're going to change now. So there's no point in dwelling on it. You need to let it go. Um, he had 16 good years with you. Look at it that way. I know how it must feel horrible, but he lived a long life. He wasn't going to live too much longer. I know that's no that's no way to console you, but you need to let it go for real. So Keith, uh, I guess we'll do it's Marilyn, right? So we got Marilyn, and then we'll do Keith, and that's it, because we've already been going an hour. So there's some sort of so what do you mean? I mean, like now I'm a little confused. So if you have a dog that's blind, he's half asleep, and you went and put him out half asleep near the pool, knowing that he might fall in there. I don't know. Something's not right with that. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm trying to figure it out myself now. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to see it. Oh, you were half asleep. Oh, I get it. So you weren't thinking, you were half asleep. The dog had to go to the bathroom or needed to go outside and you put him outside or something, right? Yeah, I feel your pain. It's really uncomfortable for me right now, but um so Marilyn, there's something coming new for you. I don't know if it's a new baby, um a new like some sort of positive. I'm seeing symbols for wishbones. Usually when a wishbone comes and I'm seeing like a golden wishbone surrounded by stars, things like this. And when this wishbone comes to me like this, and I'm seeing it so intense, and now when I'm focusing on the picture of the wishbone in my mind, it's starting swirling to me, and it's starting to. Um, all right, so I do feel it's some sort of baby, some sort of baby is coming into your life, or some sort of new beginning. Because I'm seeing like symbols of birth, and stuff like that now. So I don't know if that you're or somebody's having a new baby, or you're going through a new venture or a new beginning or a great change. But this also could be a great time for you to start new things, give birth to new ideas, give birth to new beginnings. And tonight is a new moon, right? I'm pretty sure it's a new moon tonight. So a new moon is a great time to start the spirit flame, start the new beginnings. Um, uh, it's a it could be that I'm seeing something as being a very, very fertile time for you right now, as it's a fertile for your creativity. Um, so this is a good time for you to start sparking new ideas. Um, yeah. So if you're saying that you're starting a new business, and your cousin's having a new baby, yeah. So I'm definitely feeling those new beginnings. So keep your thoughts positive. Um, Visualize seeing yourself succeeding, and the best things happening to yourself, and sort of like seal the fate of the magic of the moment for yourself. S- um, Wishbone always is a symbol for whoever has the bigger side, right? Gets the wish, right? So see yourself as having the bigger part of the wishbone. Having it might be good for you to do daily affirmations each and every day too. I know it sounds corny, but every day you wake up, give yourself a positive affirmation, something good to look out for. And this is the perfect time for you to start new projects. New big new no more procrastinating right now. It's got to be right now. Um, your creative side is fertile. That's what it is. Your creative side is just completely fertile, and your natural abilities, your natural talents are going to start coming up. Um, and I think that there's definitely news of a birth coming that's bringing you great joy. And that's definitely, I guess you're saying it's your cousin, but that's definitely what's happening, is that you have new beginnings for yourself, and you're having. Uh, Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Keith. Thank you for subscribing. And so yeah, so I do feel that you do have some sort of connection to Etruscan culture, because I'm seeing some symbols for certain things that are also in my family line. So yeah, we should. You're on my Patreon, right? So we could talk privately and do readings privately, because I do see like a circle of priests, and something happening. So there is some sort of something in your past that had to do with rituals, and some sort of priests using magic. Um, yeah, so we could talk privately. So there was one more today. Who was that? Um, Jules. It's Keith, right? Or Keith, are you leaving, right? Keith, you're good? Could be. All right, so Keith, you're next, buddy. So let me just This is awesome too. Check this out. This is a little shungite pyramid. I don't know if you guys know what shungite is, but um, for Christmas, I got my wife a big shungite pyramid that my buddy Masaki made, and it's the most powerful pyramid that I've ever seen. At a shungite as well, at least. Like my powered device is more powerful, of course, but the strongest thing of shungite I've ever seen. I mean, I have a ball of shungite as well, but it's not as powerful as this pyramid. Yeah, that's made out of pure shungite. I have a shungite ball as well, but uh there's all sorts of things that I'm going to be doing with my amulets. I'm going to be using cedar wood. I'm going to be using rue. I'm going to be using uh shungite, but I'm going to be using shungite powder. So with burying the crystals in the garden, quartz is usually the best. So that's interesting, man. So I don't know if you want to say. So Marilyn's asking, what pyramid, what crystal. I think that you should definitely get a quartz tower as well. That could amplify energy, and kyanite is always good for um, protection, healing, to cut down negative thoughts. Kyanite is a really strong tool. But there's other things that we could talk about too, or amethyst. If you're just starting out, amethyst is a good thing to start out with. It's a good start out crystal. So I'm trying to figure out with Keith. No, kyanite. I'll show you what kyanite is like. Hold on. So this is kyanite. Kyanite is usually blue. I guess maybe there's other forms of it. That's shungite. But this is kyanite right here. This is just some of it that I have. I have others as well. But these are pretty good pieces, pretty big pieces as well. And kyanite maintains the charge forever. So this is kyanite. Kyanite is amazing. They're like blades of Atlantis. Really, really amazing is kyanite. And these are from Brazil. There are some really nice pieces here too. Some of them are really thick. I know when Solaris Blue Ribbon bought one from me, I gave her a really big piece of it. It's like she used it as a healing wand now. But I like to keep a stock of a supply of kyanite because that's one of the main ones. And you see, there's all sorts of ways you can use shungite. This is a shungite necklace. And you could see this right here that I'm using. This is a copper spiral tensor. This is really strong as well. And I have a lot of tensor rings that I use. You can get some at Masaki at Akita.com, and you can get them at twistedsage.com as well. They have good items there as well. So what were we so this is the shungite ball. This is a ball of shungite. It's a pretty big ball of shungite, and this is a shungite pyramid. But I have like a huge pyramid of shungite that's my wife's that I got her for Christmas. That is probably the size of the shungite pyramid that I got my wife is probably the size of this one, this gold one. You can see I have a tensor ring around the top, and it's got the quartz crystal in the middle, and there's real gold shavings in there as well. But I don't know if people have seen my power devices in prior videos. But the power devices this one is a monster, and it's plugged into a frequency generator as well. I don't have it plugged in right now, but you can see it goes into a frequency generator here. This is custom made by Akita.com. You can see it's even engraved on there. Akita. I'm the only one, I think, that has an actual custom case. And this is a big ass pyramid. You can see it has the spiral Rodin coil in the middle. And this is connected to a 9-volt battery. And this is a monster when it comes to energy. And this boots thoughts. You could set it to 432 megahertz or whatever you want to set it to. But yeah, the Shungite pyramid that we have is about the size of the smaller one here, but it's really intense. So, yeah, I think that the bigger one is like a $300 or $400 power device. I don't know if he's even making that many of them anymore. But one of my most cherished items too is one of my crystal skulls that I have. This crystal skull here. I love this crystal skull. And when I went to the Sphinx of New York, that amazing balanced rock, I charged this underneath it. So that's one of my favorite items here. So, Keith, I'm seeing a lot of symbols for footprints with you. So this is usually about some sort of like direction you need to take in your life. It's about direction. And I think that, yeah, I recommend Masaki stuff, not only because he's one of my best friends, but because I use his items and and I know they work. And I know that he puts positive energy in it. It's all from his own hands, and there's no one else that touches it. I know where it comes from, and I know that he, puts a hard grind in and does it all from himself. So it's really special, that it comes. So now, what I mean about direction, that I feel that you've been going through and wondering which way you need to go in life, which direction you need to go, concerning your family, your careers, and even your life purpose. This has risen, especially lately. And there's no direct answer. No one could just say, well, this is what you need to do, or this is that. But you need to go towards things that bring you closer to what you would call divine, what you would call spiritual. And you got to start working from your heart. You need to seek out what comes and work directly from your heart energy. And when you do this, when you come directly from your heart, then things will start to work for you. Things will start to, you'll start to experience spiritual activity, spiritual awakenings. Your ego is a monster. People's egos are monsters, not you in specific, but just in general. And it has an interesting way of tricking people, right? And you can even trick yourself into, and I think you specifically, you try to, you want to dream up ways of getting rich really quickly, or making it big quickly, or making, all these things are going to happen really quickly. But that's not the way it works. You got to step into your own soul, step into yourself, and find what really makes you tick, what really makes you find direction, what really turns you, into the highest person you could possibly be. I don't know if you've chosen something that I'm reading in the chat. I don't know if you've chosen something to do that is like making you feel off. I don't know if it's something that you need to change your profession and find a new direction, or you need to find like your true heart's passion, you find your true talent. But I think that if you start to go towards what really makes you happy, go towards your talents, go towards all of this, you start to get pointed in the right direction. And I think that you're letting people push you off your mark. Don't let them choose a path for you. That there's going to be a very important decision that's coming up for you that you need to make. Saying it's a stepping stone to where you want to be. So I think that you have a really important decision right now to make. And you listen to your inner self. That you're on the right path, but there's going to be a really strong, important decision to make really quick. See, it's more like the footprints that I see is more like tracks, animal tracks that you're following. So I'm taking it as that you're following someone else's path. That don't let someone else put you on a path that they want you on. That you got to go off and make your own decision. So that's what I'm getting from seeing this. That's what I'm seeing, is that it's not that I'm seeing your footprints in the sand or something like that. I'm seeing you following like animal tracks. So either you could have been a tracker, of course, literally, but I don't think it's that. I think it's that you're following somebody else's path that they want you on, and that you need to go down your own path and be your own wolf, not follow the other wolves, if you want to put it that way. So we're gonna close with the spirit flame, everybody. So let me clean off all this shit I have out here. I'm gonna have to change the camera probably so you can see. Close the lights. And you can always say your own words like, this is a sacred space, and I want to receive the imprint of the ancients. So I only filled this about halfway, a little bit more than halfway maybe. Now I'm going to close out the rest of the lights. Now I charged this beneath the full moon for 8 hours. Not only did I do it once, but I did it for like 4 or 5 months straight. So it's very strong. Like I said, if anybody wants to donate in the chat room for sharing these ancient ways, that's welcome. Anybody who donates $25 or more will receive a crystal in the mail. And I want to thank you guys all for spending the time with me today. And concentrate on the spirit flame to connect to your ancestry. You can see the spirit flame rise, the blue flame. And it's always in threes. So if you make this your sacred space, to the ancients, Tutana, Diana, Herodia, Aradia, all the ones before that awaken the old ways, speak to us through the flame. You will see the realms open up within the flame. You will see the spirits dance upon the water, upon the liquid. The realm of the Fae will open up with the 3 spirits that dance upon the flame. You will see the 3 blue flames dancing like entities, speaking to you in waves, How amazing is that? This is the way of dealing with the death of your loved ones. You can connect right now to their energy. Anytime, any space. Wow, that was powerful just now. Whoa. Mhm. Wow, it's really speaking to me. Spiral out.